Welcome to M3's 3D, where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Morning roundup, Bob Marley, supports came loose. Hopefully we can fix that. We're making gargoyle knobs over here. Moai. We've got our egg over here. We had to reprint it. And very sadly, the first layer shift this direct drive has ever done. Speaking of direct drives, the drama continues. Okay, so this guy had been working like a champ, and I don't think there's anything actually wrong with this. But for some bizarre reason, this is like one of the craziest effing things ever. You can see it printed for a long time, totally normally. But then after that, it just started running in reverse, kept pushing the filament out. Now I ask you, I have never had a stepper motor in the middle of printing just start going in reverse. And then when we restarted it, for a long time it worked normally again, and then it started running in reverse. What could possibly cause that? Like, listen, if the board is messed up, first off, it probably just wouldn't run the motors. But even if it did, it seems like it would either run them the right way or run them the wrong way. Like, why would it stop after hours, extruding normally, and then just start extruding the other way? The logic of that just doesn't even make sense to me. Comment below if you have any idea what could cause that, how you would fix that, etc. Of course, I checked the cord and everything. I mean, maybe we'll try and replace the cable. The thing that's crazy about it is, like, if a stepper motor cable gets messed up, it usually like kind of clicks and doesn't work or something. It doesn't like start pushing the filament in the opposite direction, because you would have to actually cross wires or something. I don't know. It might be time to call that Exorcist. Seriously. That's pretty much the equivalent of the head spinning around. But, when the thing was working right, the direct drive was awesome. We're just going to take this off and put it on one of the other printers. I looked stuff up. I couldn't find anybody that knew how to fix this or had this problem. But yeah, you can see how nice that printed. It's just one of the weirdest things ever. And lastly, this D20 is coming through for us. I don't know if this is going to come to bite me or whatever, but I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I sold all of my Bitcoin that I'm trading, the stuff I'm not holding. So for years now, I predicted that the peak would come in September or October. That's computed based on historical peaks in the halving cycle. We're not getting into politics here, but kind of sort of the announcement of a trade war this morning. A major news event like this is exactly how Bitcoin and crypto bear markets start. I've seen enough of them to know. I was trying to sell at 130 and we probably were gonna hit that, but then all this happened. I really only sold 10% below my price target, which is really not the end of the world, considering we're up 4.5x from the investment. Anytime you multiply your money times 4 in 3 years, I think it is, that's not bad. You can't get too greedy. And like I said, I've seen this kind of thing before. Look, Bitcoin really might recover and go to 150. Or there's some news that's like gonna negate all the trade war stuff. I totally understand that's possible, but I'm just not betting the farm on like a bunch of hopium. I'm not going to sacrifice 60% for 10%. If this was much earlier in the year, which of course there was a lot of tariff stuff going on early in the year, I held through that. But like I said, I predicted that the peak was going to be, really I was leaning towards September, but I held through October because things looked pretty good, and there's an argument for both. Almost halfway through October, I'm way up on the investment, so we sold. I was thinking about not telling you, but we've talked about Bitcoin, and I'm just going to tell you what I actually did. If you're holding Bitcoin, make your own decisions. There's a real plausible case that perhaps the bull market extends a bit for another month or two. But you know what? There's times where I really wish I would have sold, and I didn't, and I held, and I would have quite a bit more. And you just can't be that guy. You can't be trying to time the top all the time. When you look at, I think it's the S&P 500, last time all this trade war stuff got going, there was a huge impact. My thought is, this is just, like I said, this is exactly the kind of thing that starts bear markets in crypto. I've seen it enough times that we're getting off the train. Once Bitcoin goes down to maybe 60, 70,000, somewhere in there, we're going to start averaging in about a year from there. We're going to rinse and repeat, and that's going to turn into a huge bag of money. A huge, huge bag. The kind of thing that can fund the dream. You know, the after business thing that we talked about at the end of the last episode. You know, you just have to not sacrifice a higher value for a lower value. It'd be nice to get a few more percentage points, but F it. We're not going to be stupid about this. So anyway, not financial advice, but since we've talked about it, I figured I'd share it with you guys. Time to send off this glorious ice cream cone. You know, it occurs to me, not that I'm expecting this to happen exactly, but if we do go into sort of an economic downturn or something like that, there probably is a case to be made that big food might be one of those things that survives, especially if it's the kind of thing that businesses might want for advertising or something like that. Not to be all morbid about it, but you know, people a lot of times will spend more on advertising when they're really trying to get business and stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure that that's what's happening, but it's kind of good to game out these scenarios in your head. Got some quesadilla. Even though I didn't particularly want to sell this early, really wanted to hit 130. Strictly speaking, we made a lot of money today. It's gonna be a good episode. We're gonna have a good day. Vibes, I'm keeping the vibes pretty high. We made about 4.5 times our investment. We've got our fake Dunkin', we've got our salsas, and we've got Quesadilla Friday. Gratitude time. Wow, look at that. I just saw it go down like $1,000 in a few seconds. I think we got out at a good time. I sold it in the 117s, just touched 113 there for a second. Now, like I said, it could rally, hit 130, 140, 150, somewhere in there. It's definitely not impossible, but I'm just not betting the farm on it. Sorry. Call me weak hands if you want. Oh yeah, long-time viewers will remember that we introduced a custom name coffee cup. We did a custom job for Butler University. They had some event and we had to put words in the coffee cup, but we charged like $100 extra for that, and we just sold one. I don't think I've ever actually sold one of the custom name coffee cups before. People have messaged me about it a lot, a whole lot, but nobody's ever actually pulled the trigger. And we're selling one, we're sending it all the way to Poland. Hopefully it makes it, because that would suck to refund. Oh, by the way, when I actually finally buy in again, I will say it on the show. Do with that information what you will. Okay, not to fixate on this. Look how fast that's dropping. That's crazy. We made a real good decision. It's about to go below 113. In fact, I think it's about to do it right now. That is crazy. That is just insane. Look at that. Holy crap. It was 117 when I sold this morning. What the hell is going on? Dang. I think we sold before one of the biggest drops in at least the past few years of crypto history. Whoa. All right, we're actually gonna measure this. I think I sold about there. Let's see what percentage drop this is. Okay, it kind of obscures it. Almost 6%. Something like that. Wow. It's going below 110. All right, I gotta stop fixating on this. Man, that's crazy. I am very glad. It's gonna drop like $10,000 today. We're already at 108.5. Yep, we sold at the right time, boys. All right, last one. It just hit $10,000 less than where we sold. Feeling pretty freaking good right now, not gonna lie. Feeling considerable confidence in my decision. Let's take our Micro Swiss direct drive and put it on another printer. If we get the same problem, then maybe it's something that is not endemic, let's say germane to this printer. All right, check this out. I'm not moving my hand. As you can see, I don't know if it's coming through, but it is pushing the filament out the other way. Filament's supposed to be going down. Instead, it's coming up. It's on a completely different printer. What the heck is going on? As you can see, it's not even touching the bed. Here, I'll show you. This pushes through just fine. Push this. As you can see, I can easily push through plastic. There's nothing clogging this. There's nothing even jamming it. Weirdly, when I move axis and we do the extruder, this doesn't move at all. Why would that be? Okay, this is a really strange one, but doesn't it look like there's supposed to be more wires than that? This is the extender that they sent me, and I can feel, yep, there's only like 2 little or 3 plugs in there. This must be what was going on. Given how strange that is, that must be the problem. Man, there's no way it's supposed to be like this. This is what they sent me. Well, I do have another one. We'll try. Okay, here's another one. It looks kind of the same. I mean, is this just what these extensions are supposed to be like? Why don't they have the other things? What's going on? So this thing is not successfully spinning. Thus, it's not moving this gear here. Man, is this really just got something wrong with the motor? Okay, I think we have our answer. We've got a spare stepper motor here. As you can see, it is rotating normally. Wow, what a strange problem. The actual stepper motor is either jammed in some way that doesn't make sense to me, or it just is broken. They shipped me an extruder upgrade with a broken stepper motor, or non-functional. I wonder if there's a way to replace this with like a bigger stepper motor or something. Is this too finely aligned? Would it mess it up? I mean, I guess we're gonna have to return this if we can't fix it. So maybe we'll try and actually take this stepper motor off. Okay, I can get to 2 of those screws, but I just can't get to the other 2. So we can't fix this. Man, why can't anything just be easy? Well, I guess we are going to return that one. We have another one coming tomorrow, so we'll see if the problem happens on that one, and then we've really got something weird. Why is everything frustrating? All right, we're just gonna move on to some other things, because I can't think about this. I can't think about the weirdly intense journey just to try to fix this printer anymore. I can only spend so many days thinking about it. But yeah, I really think that's what it is. This stepper motor worked perfectly. This stepper motor did not. I didn't move it out of alignment. As you can see, it's very much in alignment with the gears as it's supposed to be. We also know that there isn't a clog in there because you can easily push the plastic through. Maybe you would get some kind of problem where it was jamming if the plastic couldn't go through, but it can easily go through. We've basically isolated the problem to that stepper motor. I mean, if you know some different, I'm not talking about Chuck Norris. If you know some different solution or some problem that's having other than the stepper motor, I'm very interested to hear about it, but I can't figure anything else out better. Plus, that extruder, that direct drive extruder worked fine for a long time, and now it just doesn't work at all. It seems like some kind of weird degenerative thing, so I don't know. That's all I can figure out. I'm only human. Got a bunch of things squared away. It is time to repaint this guy. So let's tape off the eye. And here we've got gargoyle guitar knobs. Bob Marley with his famous Rasta coloration. Oh yeah, one last thing about the direct drive. The fact that this just clicks and won't turn might make you think that, well, maybe something is jamming up this gear, because this interacts with this gear. But check this out. I can pretty easily just turn it back and forth. So we know that the gear is not like clogged or bound or anything. It really is this extruder motor. And like I said, the fact that this motor worked, you know, pretty much proves that. And a Moai. And a very nice bronze Marcus. You know what? We do not have a listing for the bronze Marcus. No time like the present. Bam, product for the day, going into the weekend strong. Bam. All right, time to package that bronze Marcus. Okay, this is a little random, but the guy in Italy that wanted to offer me basically nothing for that giant burger, you know, he was offering me less than the amount that the burger costs for something that's like 8 times as big or 4 times as big. He just said that he's carving one out of styrofoam, and he was like, "You lost money on this sale, blah blah blah." I don't know, I just thought it was funny that he, like, after all this time decided to rub it in my face that I lost the opportunity to lose money by selling to him. Good time. Sometimes you can tell that somebody's got a little bit of attitude, and you don't want to sell anything expensive. You don't want to sell anything to them, but you definitely don't want to sell anything expensive, because they're going to find some reason to complain to Etsy. They're going to find some reason to give you a bad review. That's just how it is. Yeah. Good times. Enjoy your styrofoam burger, Italian man. Green fish. Blue fish, true fish. Join the Discord, link below. Toastios, visiting cities? Not a thing I would ever want to do. Maybe visit towns that start with the letter M. That's also pretty cool. Dash render. Meant to comment yesterday on the thread conversation. Maybe it'd just be the thread. I don't know. I am not the grammar police. It's worth looking into the thread building extension in SketchUp. Oh yeah, you can download extensions, right? Man, it's been a long time since I thought about that. I'm working with it for the first time back in June or July. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. YouTube will be your best source for the how-to. 360-degree rotation would be enough contact to connect most big stuff. That makes sense. Yeah, I forgot that there's like all those extensions you can get for SketchUp. Yeah, very good comment. Also, Toastios, just saw the coin video. Glad you sold at a good time. By the way, I thought your retirement plan was to move to some tiny country and get by on the difference in cost of living. Yeah, I was thinking about moving to the Philippines. Maybe we would do the like cities tour exploration thing first. It also kind of depends on how much we end up kind of having at the end of this. See, like in the Philippines, you can live very comfortably on $1,000, equivalent of $1,000 a month. And if you're like spending 1,500, 2,000, you're like balling. You're like doing real good. So part of me wants to like at least do that for a while. It'd be kind of fun. And the thing is, you can live in like nice cities. The Philippines isn't like some of these other third world countries that are a little dangerous. There was like a big, there was an earthquake there in Cebu or somewhere like that. It does look a little sketchy. That's something you have to think about. But there's a lot of things that are cool. It's like there's a lot of people that lose a lot of weight when they go to the Philippines because we don't even understand how much bad stuff is in our food. And like the Philippines doesn't have that, at least with anything, you know, local that's not imported or whatever. They don't have like all these crazy preservatives and these Franken plants and like weird genetically modified things. Like they just eat like normal food there, and almost everybody loses weight. So part of me like wants to almost do it for the health benefits, but I don't know, we got lots of time to think about it. You know, I'm kind of a believer in not really making decisions until you kind of have to, or at least you have to plan for them. You know, making decisions before their time can be kind of just as bad as making decisions after their time. A wizard arrives precisely when they mean to. The Ian MCE, from one me to another, props to Gary7, stay gritty, stay awesome, much respect. To M3, I love your idea for the next stage. Start by visiting Roswell, New Mexico, where I happen to be visiting as we speak. Not too far from you in Texas, and as you say, it's totally not seen for what it truly is, like so many small communities in the US. That sounds pretty fun. If I was going to visit New Mexico, it would be during the winter though, which, you know, might be an option. Richard Keyser, have you heard of the loop filament extruder? It's for recycling, but should be able to use new pellets. It's all in one desktop unit. When I was looking into making my own filament, I looked into a whole bunch of, I think I looked at every single one that was available at that time. I'm not sure if any of the ones I looked at were the loop. It was very tough making that decision because there's very few reviews and very few people that even do it, especially back then, but still really. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've heard of it. I for Darby Hoskin says, the road trip sounds cool and the direct drive should be a game changer. I'm sure it will be if I can get one that works. Mist 3D11, I think this is a new commenter. Hi, I do the same as you, 3D printing, and I have a YouTube too. How are you getting orders? What do you use for selling? I'm getting views. I just need orders. Man, you're about to get introduced to a major theme of the channel. Here's how you get orders. Make things. So if you haven't watched from the beginning, or early on at least, you might not know that we had a goal of making 150 products within a year. I believe we started, I'd have to actually look this up, it was like right after Christmas or something like that. And we have 102 plus all of these tick marks. And what would that be? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 34, 136. So we are very close to 150, and we're not even close to Christmas. I mean, I guess we're close to Christmas, but we're somewhat far away from Christmas. That's it. People can buy things if you post things. Do that. Get you a whiteboard from the thrift store or the dollar store. Start making things. That's the secret. Rugged Layer Lab, hello. Hello to you too. Oh man, what am I grateful for today? I guess I'm grateful that I figured out it really was the motor on the direct drive thing. It's disappointing, but at the same time, screwing with it for a really long time, not knowing what the problem is worse. So that's a plus. You know, I have no idea whether selling my Bitcoin and stuff was like the right time or not. But I think I'm up about, I think my cost basis was something like 25,000, meaning how much on average I paid for what I sold. And then I sold it at 117, so 25 times 4 is obviously 100. So it's a little more than 4.5 times my money. You know, you just can't complain about more than quadrupling your investment in a few years. So even if it goes back up, even if this whole panic thing just ends up being like a spring and it just launches up afterwards, I'm just not going to feel bad about that. It's like I could have held out for 130 like I was planning, but at the same time, I've just seen these things before. Everyone hypes and hypes and hypes and hypes and hypes. And like they're like, "Oh no, man, it's coming back." And then you got a bear market. And it's like I was planning on kind of selling regardless of what the price was if it didn't hit 130 at the end of this month, because you can watch early episodes of this series. At some point, I know I said that I was gonna sell September or October of this year, in other words now. And so we're up a bunch. We've got a nice bag to reinvest during the bear market, which is the whole point. And it's going to be really, really good. You know, it would have been nice to have a couple more percentage points, like I said, but I just can't feel bad about it, especially after we had just a massive dump today. So you just can't mind read the market. And at some point, it's like enough things start converging, get a bunch of like weird economic news that just has this giant red candle on the S&P 500 for the day. That's a game changer. And this is kind of the month I was thinking I was going to sell. It's all coming together. So I feel pretty good. I think I made a pretty prudent decision. You know, you can never time these things perfectly, but I'm feeling, especially by the end of today, at this point, am feeling pretty satisfied with my decision this morning. Also, we've got the new music video that will be out tomorrow. All I got to do is edit the stuff, and I'm mixing a little bit on the song itself. And it's the most complex thing I've done so far. It's not that crazy, but it's just, there's a lot of elements. So look for that. Probably by the time you watch this, it might even be out. But it'll definitely be out today for you, tomorrow for me. I'm very happy with it. And I'm also leaning in to the like giving the narrative behind the song part, because I think that's something a lot of people don't do. I watch cover songs on YouTube and it's fun, you know, it's fun to hear people's renditions and stuff, but people don't really talk about what those songs mean to them. It's just like they just play it and that's kind of it. Whereas like I'm thinking of this series as an exploration. Like I'm gonna show you a bunch of stuff you've probably never heard before. And some of it's a little strange, but some of it's just kind of obscure, but it all meant a lot to me, which is why I already knew the lyrics and stuff very well because I've sung it a bunch of times, and why we really dug into the instrumental aspects of it. You know, I'm trying to convey a little bit of passion in this whole thing. And so this song that's coming out tomorrow for me, today for you, you know, I think it's going to be a nice entry into that series. We're calling it the deep cut. That's always fun. I will say we'll probably do something a little simpler afterwards because this just took a long time. But yeah, it feels good that that's coming out too. It's definitely speaking to me a little bit. Well, that's what I'm grateful for. Write down in the comments what y'all are grateful for. What do you enjoy? What songs would you be interested in? Pretty much any thoughts you have about what we talked about today. We drop the goodness every single day. You guys are the Gratitude Gang, and I am grateful for all of y'all. The plan's coming together. We're selling stuff. The work is starting to pay off, y'all. It really is. I love it when a plan comes together. See you on the next episode. Peace out.
Stay around you. I can't say what I need. This blinding adolescence I'm seeing to standing in a moment. What has been is cast aside, frozen there as time rode. I know that you must have died. possessions, everything that we through emotions, and we're all going to die. So leave me something precious, another glimpse of light. Lion will surround you. Open up your light, time to say a Wiedersehen.